Master Canadian Permanent Residency Obligation to stay in Canada. To maintain your status as a Canadian permanent resident, it's crucial to understand and meet the residency obligation. Canada requires PRs to live in the country for a minimum number of days within a set period. Failing to meet this requirement can put your PR status at risk. This video explains what you need to know to stay compliant. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. Canadian permanent residency is a coveted status for millions worldwide, offering a pathway to a stable, prosperous life in one of the most welcoming countries. Whether you're an international student, a temporary foreign worker, or someone reuniting with family, achieving PR status is a significant milestone. However, maintaining this status comes with responsibilities, particularly the residency obligation that requires you to spend a certain amount of time in Canada. Failing to understand or meet these requirements could jeopardize your PR status, making it essential to know the rules inside out. What is Canadian permanent residency? Canadian permanent residency grants individuals the right to live, work, and study anywhere in Canada without the restrictions faced by temporary residents. It's a status that offers many privileges of Canadian citizenship while imposing specific obligations to maintain. For many, PR is a stepping stone toward full citizenship, offering stability, access to social benefits, and legal protections under Canadian law. Key benefits of Canadian permanent residency. As a permanent resident, you enjoy a wide range of privileges that make Canada an attractive destination. Access to social benefits. Permanent residents are eligible for provincial healthcare coverage, ensuring access to medical services across Canada. Freedom to live, work, and study. You can reside, pursue education, or work in any province or territory without needing additional permits. Pathway to citizenship. After meeting residency and other eligibility criteria, you can apply for Canadian citizenship, gaining the right to vote and hold a Canadian passport. Legal protections. PRs are protected under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, ensuring fair treatment under the law. Family sponsorship. You can sponsor eligible family members to join you in Canada, fostering family reunification. However, permanent residents cannot vote, run for political office, or hold certain high-security government jobs. Understanding these limitations is key to managing expectations as a PR. The Canadian residency obligation. What you need to know. To maintain your PR status, you must comply with the residency obligation, which requires you to be physically present in Canada for at least 730 days, 2 years, within a 5-year period, unless you meet the exemption. This obligation begins the day you become a permanent resident, typically when you sign your landing papers or receive your confirmation of permanent residence. Here's a breakdown of the residency obligation. 730 days in 5 years. You must spend at least 730 days in Canada during the 5-year period immediately preceding any application or assessment of your PR status, e.g., PR card renewal. Non-consecutive days. The 730 days don't need to be consecutive. You can accumulate them over the 5-year period through multiple stays. Specific 5-year period. The 5-year period is not any random 5 years but the one immediately before the date of your PR card renewal application or status assessment. Failure to meet this obligation could lead to an investigation into your PR status, potentially resulting in its loss. However, certain activities outside Canada can count toward your 730-day requirement. Meeting permanent residency obligations while abroad. You don't always need to be physically in Canada to meet the 730-day requirement. Certain scenarios allow time spent abroad to count toward your residency obligation. These include working for a Canadian employer abroad. If you're employed full-time by a Canadian business, organization, or the Canadian federal, provincial, or territorial government, days spent working abroad count toward your 730 days. Example: a Canadian company sends you to manage an overseas branch. Your time abroad counts as if you were in Canada, provided you have proof of employment. Accompanying a Canadian citizen. If you travel or live abroad with a spouse or common-law partner who is a Canadian citizen, those days count toward your targets. However, these days won't count towards Canadian citizenship. Residency obligation scenarios for compliance while abroad. The following scenarios allow time spent outside Canada to count toward the 730-day residency obligation. Full-time employment with a Canadian entity. You are employed full-time by a Canadian business, organization, or a federal, provincial, or territorial government outside Canada. Example: working as an engineer for a Canadian tech company's international office. Days spent abroad in this role are credited toward your residency obligation, provided you can provide employment documentation. Accompanying a Canadian citizen spouse or partner. You are residing abroad with a spouse or common law partner who is a Canadian citizen. Example, if your Canadian citizen spouse is residing abroad, the days you spend with them count toward your 730-day requirement. Accompanying a permanent resident spouse or partner working for a Canadian entity. You are traveling or living abroad with a spouse or common law partner who is a permanent resident and employed full-time by a Canadian business or government outside Canada. Example, if your PR spouse works for a Canadian NGO in another country, your time abroad with them counts, provided employment proof is submitted. Documentation is key. To claim these exceptions, you must provide evidence such as employment contracts, pay stubs, marriage certificates, or proof of common law status. Keeping meticulous records is critical to avoid complications during PR card renewal or status assessments. How to calculate your permanent residency obligation days. Calculating your residency days is straightforward but requires careful record keeping. Here's how to do it. 1. Determine the 5-year period. Start from the date you're assessing your status, e.g., when you apply to renew your PR card. Count backward 5 years from that date. 2. Track your time. Add up all the days you were physically present in Canada during this period. Include partial days, e.g., the day you arrive in Canada counts as a full day. 3. Include eligible time abroad. Certain activities outside Canada can count toward your 730 days, such as working for a Canadian employer or accompanying a Canadian citizen spouse. More on this below. 4. Use documentation. Keep records like travel itineraries, boarding passes, passport stamps, employment contracts, or other proof to verify your time in Canada. Example calculation. Suppose you're applying to renew your PR card on June 28, 2025. The 5-year period is June 28, 2020, to June 28, 2025. You check your travel records and find. Year 1, 2020 to 2021 spent 300 days in Canada. Year 2, 2021 to 2022 spent 200 days in Canada, 165 days abroad working for a Canadian company, counts toward obligation. Year 3, 2022 to 2023 spent 350 days in Canada. Year 4, 2023 to 2024 spent 100 days in Canada, 265 days abroad with a Canadian citizen spouse, counts toward obligation. Year 5, 2024 to 2025 spent 150 days in Canada. Total, 300 plus 200 plus 165 plus 350 plus 100 plus 265 plus 150 is equal to 1,530 days. Since this exceeds 730 days, you meet the residency obligation. Losing your Canadian permanent residency status. Losing your PR status is rare but possible under specific circumstances. Understanding these scenarios can help you protect your status. 1. PR card expiry does not affect status. An expired PR card does not mean you've lost your PR status. The card is a proof of status, not the status itself. You can apply for a new PR card or a permanent resident travel document. 2. Failing the residency obligation. If you don't meet the 730-day requirement, your status isn't automatically revoked. An immigration officer will assess your case through an inquiry or appeal process, e.g., after a PRTD refusal. Humanitarian and compassionate grounds. You can present reasons for your absence, such as family emergencies or medical issues, which may be considered to retain your status. 3. Voluntary renunciation. You can choose to give up your PR status voluntarily, for example, if you decide to permanently relocate to another country. 4. Removal order. A removal order issued against you, e.g., due to criminality or misrepresentation, can lead to loss of PR status. 5. Becoming a Canadian citizen. Upon gaining citizenship, your PR status is automatically replaced by citizenship, as you no longer need PR privileges. Pro tip: stay proactive. Regularly monitor your time, keep detailed travel and employment records, and consult an immigration professional if you're unsure about your compliance. Early planning can prevent issues during PR card renewals or status reviews. Tips for new permanent residents to stay compliant. For newly arrived PRs, navigating the residency obligation can feel overwhelming. Here are practical tips to ensure compliance and make the most of your PR status. 1. Track your travel. Use a spreadsheet or travel journal to log entry and exit dates. Retain boarding passes, passport stamps, and other travel documents. 2. Understand eligible absences. If you plan to work or travel abroad, confirm whether your situation qualifies for credited time, e.g., working for a Canadian employer or accompanying a Canadian citizen spouse. 3. Renew your PR card on time. PR cards are valid for 5 years. Apply for renewal 6 to 9 months before expiry to avoid travel disruptions. 4. Plan for citizenship. If your goal is Canadian citizenship, ensure you meet the physical presence requirement, 1,095 days in 5 years as a PR, and start preparing documentation early. 5. Leverage Canadian benefits. Take advantage of healthcare, education, and job opportunities to build a fulfilling life while meeting residency requirements. Common myths about Canadian permanent residency. Misinformation can lead to confusion and mistakes. Here are some myths debunked. Myth 1. You lose your PR status if you don't live in Canada full-time. Fact. You only need to meet the 730-day requirement over 5 years, not live in Canada continuously. Eligible time abroad can also count. Myth 2. An expired PR card means you are no longer a PR. Fact. PR status is separate from the PR card. You remain a PR until an official decision revokes your status. Myth 3. You can't leave Canada for long periods as a PR. Fact. You can travel freely, provided you meet the 730-day obligation or qualify for exceptions. Myth 4. You'll automatically lose PR status if you don't meet the 730 days. Fact. An investigation or appeal process is required before status is revoked, and humanitarian grounds may be considered. Real-life scenarios. Navigating the residency obligation. To illustrate how the residency obligation works, here are fictional but realistic scenarios. Maria, PR working abroad for a Canadian company, 1,095 days outside Canada count due to employment PR card renewal successful. Ahmed, spent time abroad for family health reasons, only 600 days in Canada. Applies for PRTD with humanitarian grounds PR status retained after review. Sophie, traveled abroad with Canadian spouse, 500 days in Canada plus 300 abroad with spouse meets 730-day requirement PR card renewed. Rahul, new PR since 2024, 400 days in Canada by 2025 tracks travel to meet the 730-day requirement by 2029. By meeting the residency obligation, you secure these benefits and build a future in a country known for its stability and opportunities. Canadian permanent residency is a privilege that opens doors to a fulfilling life in a diverse, opportunity-rich country. By understanding and meeting the 730-day residency obligation, keeping thorough records, and planning strategically, you can maintain your PR status with confidence. Whether you're building a career, raising a family, or pursuing education, Canada offers a welcoming environment to thrive. How long can you be out of Canada without losing permanent residency? You must be physically present in Canada for at least 730 days, 2 years, within a 5-year period. Time abroad may count if working for a Canadian employer or with a Canadian citizen spouse. How long can you be out of Canada without losing permanent residency? You can be outside Canada for up to 3 years in a 5-year period, as long as you meet the 730-day residency requirement or qualify for abroad credits, e.g., Canadian employer work. How can you lose my PR status in Canada? You may lose PR status by failing the 730-day requirement without valid exceptions, receiving a removal order, voluntarily giving up PR, or becoming a Canadian citizen. Successfully meeting the residency obligation ensures you can continue enjoying the rights and benefits of permanent residency in Canada. With proper planning and awareness of the rules, you can avoid complications and protect your future in the country. That is all for today, in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later, in the next video. Till then, take care.